We are back here on Kababayan Today. We have USCIS joining us. Kasama natin si Alison D at si Stephane Kwan at pinag-uusapan po namin ang Filipino World War II Veteran Parole Program. And we want to make sure and encourage kababayans that are watching that if you are eligible for this, you should apply as soon as possible. And this is why. We'll tell you why. Alison, Stephane, thank you so much once again for joining us. Now, before we went to break, you explained to us sort of the process of what documents need to be filled in order to be eligible for this. But how long does the process take? Because a lot of kababayans have petitioned for their families, and that waiting list is 20 years sometimes for families to be reunited. Is this going to be the case for this situation?
So, you know, in terms of processing time, how long we think it takes from the time you file your application to the time your family member would actually be able to get on an airplane and come to the United States. Obviously, this is a brand new program, and so we haven't seen actually someone go through the whole process yet. But we do anticipate, we estimate that it should take about 6 months from the time you file your I-131 to the time that your family member would get a travel document and be able to fly to come to the United States. And that, you know, and I think that's just kind of generally what we anticipate in terms of processing time.
Okay, so 6 months. I mean, that seems like a very, very fast turnaround time. Now, the question is, the next question, how long would the parole be good for? How long can they stay in the United States? Alison, is there some sort of length of time that you foresee that the parole is good for?
Yes, no, exactly. Once the person travels to the United States and enters the United States at that port of entry, the parole will be for 3 years initially. And we hope that when the person's immigrant visa becomes available, they'll apply to adjust status to become a permanent resident. If they need more time than those 3 years, they can apply to renew their parole. We call it re-parole for an additional 3-year period. So up until the time that they need to become a permanent resident or a green card holder.
So you mean to say if you are eligible for the Filipino World War II Veterans Parole Program, this may lead to citizenship?
Eventually, yes. Exactly, because these are people who have approved family-based petitions already. So they are in these long waiting lines that you alluded to earlier. They've already been waiting to be able to come here as permanent residents. What we're doing is really allowing them to come to the United States legally, to work here, to reunite with their family members, and do that waiting time here. So that they may become eligible, hopefully, you know, as soon as possible, they apply to become permanent residents. And as permanent residents, of course, after a few years, they're eligible to apply for citizenship. So that's right. We're hoping to welcome, you know, a number of people through this program who will eventually become new U.S. citizens.
Okay, so the question is, how many people do you estimate under this parole program? Is there a number that you're expecting?
So that's like a really tough question, and one that we've been really thinking through. And I think there was this report that was issued by the White House in July of 2015, which announced the creation of this program. And in that report, it talked about that there are approximately 2,000 to 6,000 Filipino World War II veterans who are still alive and living in the United States today. I mean, that's probably like the best kind of number that we've been seeing. But in addition to the veteran, as Alison and I have talked about, surviving spouses of veterans can also apply for this program. Individual
Can they petition as well? The spouses can petition in behalf of their husbands?
On behalf of family members, if their husband has already passed away, they would be able to request parole. So we don't know how many spouses might be eligible to apply. Also, as Alison mentioned earlier, where the veteran and their spouse have both deceased, certain family members may be able to self-apply for this program, and so we're also not really, we don't have really fixed numbers on how many people might be eligible that way as well. So we anticipate, we use a number 2,000 to 6,000 individuals, but that's really our our best estimate based on the information we've seen publicly.
Okay, so June 8th was when you could first apply.
That's right.
You know, have you gotten a lot of applications so far from any of our Filipino families?
So, you know, this program is brand new. It's
Yes.
only been going on for about a month, and so we can say we are definitely receiving applications.
Wonderful.
Alison and I have been in San Diego and then LA. We're going to San Francisco tomorrow to really talk about this program, to get the word out. And so we hope that in this process we can really get more information out to the public about the program, and so questions that people may have, that we've started to answer them, and then that will also just increase the awareness of this program.
And I would perhaps mention that we're also we have a USCIS office in Manila, and we are also doing outreach in the Philippines through that office and plan to continue that, as well as engagements we've had in Las Vegas and Honolulu. So we really appreciate you having us on the show to get the word out, because we do want as many people as possible to take advantage of this program who are eligible.
That's right. Well, we will also want to thank the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services for providing us all this information. It's so important that we are informed of our options, and we definitely want to make sure that all of you understand how important it is to really make sure that you apply before these deadlines. There isn't a deadline yet, but as we know, there will be a change in administration. We don't want to speculate, but you know, we want to apply as soon as possible, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we obviously can't speak for the next administration, but the important thing to focus in on is that this program is happening now. We're accepting applications now, and we don't have an end date for when we think the program will end.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we will be right back here on Kababayan Today. Once again, we want to thank USCIS for providing us this information on Kababayan Today. Thank you so much for coming all this way and sharing this information for our Filipinos that may be eligible under the Filipino World War II Veterans Parole Program. Magbabalik kami.